This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. So, the news yesterday broke about these three strong, empowered women who are going to be sitting on a panel on International Women's Day, March 8th, coming up this week. So, I thought we'd take a look at these ladies and see how inspiring and how uplifting they really are. It's apparent the one thing that these three ladies have in common is hypocrisy. I'd like to give a shout out to the Sidley Twins, who pointed out Brooke Shields apparently has a love for fur coats and was in a little bit of hot water with PETA back in 2010. You might want to check out this video as they do provide some really insightful background around controversy surrounding Brooke Shields. Do we think that this would bother our burger eating vegetarian Meghan Markle? Of course not. Forcing her husband to sell his valuable gun collection so she could get more Botox, in addition to making him give up his hobby of hunting, was only part of the narcissistic playbook. Obviously, this woman is not an animal advocate and could care less. Meghan will throw whatever away if it gets in the way of her brand. So, take for example, Bogart. What did she do? She left him behind and gave him away. Maybe that was a blessing in disguise. I feel sorry for any animal or children that are in her care, but we'll leave that topic for another day. Now, when we talk about Katie Couric, I totally forgot that she dropped this book in 2021 in which she was outed as one big mean girl. In this book, she gave another broadcaster, Ashley Banfield, the cold shoulder early in her career because helping her would have been self-sabotage. She also mocked Deborah Norville, who's on Inside Edition, who she replaced on the Today Show for having relentless perfection. She also put Martha Stewart down in the book, saying it took some healthy humbling when she went to prison, mocking her. I mean, Katie Couric is not a nice person. So it totally makes sense as to why she would be on this panel with Meghan. Again, birds of a feather definitely 100% flock together. Let's not forget she's on this Aspen Commission of Information Disorder because she too is a socialist that wants to shut people up. And these are the women that are going to be uplifting other women on International Women's Day. Make it make sense. Who remembers this beautiful lady at the King's coronation? That's Penny Mordaunt, and she is an MP who actually sent Meghan, after she joined the royal family, a necklace that was made by human trafficking survivors. Now, at the time, the leader of the UK House of Commons and Lord President of the Privy Council was working with a charity called Eden, who teaches jewelry making skills to women in Myanmar who were survivors of human trafficking. Penny had said that she sent the handcrafted necklace to the Duchess as a gesture of support when she was new to the royal family, but of course, Meghan had ignored her. Now, if we had to guess, obviously the excuse would be blaming it on someone else. I'm sure she would blame her former royal aides for not giving her the information or wasn't told about it. As always, it's never Meghan's fault, but we all know that Meghan could care less about doing anything that would help uplift women unless it was good for her brand. But even when she tries, she can't even pull it off. Like, take for instance this Moroccan tour. Remember when they sent Harry and Meghan over there to do something for the British government in relationship? And the palace spun something ridiculous about the focus of the trip being about women's empowerment, girls' education, inclusivity, and the encouragement of social entrepreneurship for women. Yeah, remember this trip? That was short notice. Anyhow, Meghan was allegedly 8 months pregnant here. During this trip, we got to see some of this beautiful culture of which Meghan turned her nose up at. Not only did we get to be treated to some beautiful culture, we also saw some glimpses of the talent that Archie possesses in contortionism. As you can see, Archie is a natural performer. He's doing exactly what his mom needs him to do and showing himself off in full view. While Meghan's allowed to show this beautiful henna tattoo, he's there to be in the background just to say, hey, look, I am here, but only in a supporting role capacity. He's smart enough to know that he is just an extension or accessory to Meghan. Archie did have a moment of being rambunctious here in where he refused to collapse completely, and yeah, unfortunately, he stole some of the show, as you can see here. Looks like Archie is stubborn just like his mother. As you can see, Archie's doing his very best to not get in the way while his mom pretends that she is somewhat interested, but not really doing such a good job. Watch how Meghan asks questions of these girls and not even give them the proper attention to allow them to finish their answer, immediately looking away with this last girl. Women's empowerment? I think not. But at least Archie is doing what he's told to do and he's somersaulting to the floor right now. I've lightened this clip up a little bit so you can see a little bit more of Archie's magical talents. I mean, this is truly really special. Let's take a moment to admire this henna tattoo. Don't mind Archie in the background. He is kind of throwing a little bit of a tantrum here by sticking out so much. We see him calm down in this next clip. Yeah, it looks like Meghan had a word with him. As you can see, he's collapsed back in, out of the spotlight. But not too much. He does have a supporting role to play here, and he knows it. You could tell that it was a busy day for the fomanitarian. I'm really glad later on that evening, Archie was allowed to bring a play date while Mommy was wearing her 100,000-pound Dior Kafgan. At least it was big enough for two. Early on, you can see the stardom right here. I mean, this is Cirque du Soleil material. I don't know what's in the water in Montecito, but it looks like we have some star kids coming out of there. David Foster, you know, Harry's second dad, his son, 3-year-old, he's like a genius drummer. Check this out. All joking aside, at some point, the palace is going to have to come clean about this situation because it's just getting more and more ridiculous the longer we go on with it. As we see this website being updated, but zero pictures of these children as opposed to the others in the line of succession, as you can see with Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis. You have them growing up in front of our eyes. I'm not saying that we need to see pictures of these kids on every birthday, but show us some sign of life. We are now 6 years into this, and here we have a picture of what we assume is Archie, but not really sure. And then for Lilibet, there is zero picture or zero information about this phantom child. I mean, this really is a mockery of the institution. You have someone that nobody has ever seen and is holding a place for the future of England. I mean, we know that they're so far down that, it's virtually almost impossible, but you never know with all the voodoo that Meghan is working on everyone. This is probably the end state that she wants to get to, and I wouldn't put it past her to do whatever she can to move these children up the line. If the palace thinks that people are just going to forget about it if we don't acknowledge it or not talk about it, I think they're wrong on this one. It's only going to get worse, especially if we keep using this AI generated photo of little Betty and then Archie still at 6 months. I mean, 10 years down the line, I think it's going to get a little bit ridiculous if we keep seeing these two pictures. You know what I mean? Now, I know that there's a lot of you out there that don't believe that these children exist, and you have every right to feel that way because the games that these two have played have been nonstop. And they are the ones that have caused this. Without being transparent, you open yourself up to all these speculations, especially when nothing is consistent and you are known to lie. How can you take anything that they say at face value? The one thing, though, that is very selfish and we should be angry at is that there are two people involved here, two little ones that are going to have to assume the role of Archie and little Betty. And with that is going to come with them all this drama that their parents have put on their backs. Like, for instance, for Archie, the conversation about how dark his skin was going to be is going to follow him throughout history, which I think is shameful that Meghan did that to him. She has now put a mark on his back, and he didn't do anything to deserve that because he's innocent. The same thing with little Betty. I mean, you're going to name your child after the racist monarch after you've created all this disruption, holding these kids away from their own family, not even allowing them to get to know their own heritage, I think is so selfish. And that's what makes her such a shit person and shit parent. Both of them, to do this to them, I think is going to leave a lasting psychological impact on them that they're going to need therapy for the rest of their lives, in my humble opinion. The damage that Meghan has done, not only to these two invisible kids and her husband, is yet to be seen. We know that it's going to get worse as soon as this money starts drying out. We just hope that, these two kids, if they do exist, I mean, I'm sure that they're in the hands of nannies, and we can only hope that these people are giving them the security and love that they deserve. Because I think leaving them in the hands of these two, is a lose situation. They've proven themselves to be unfit, in my humble opinion. But what do you guys think? Definitely leave your thoughts below. I mean, we're going to get to Friday, and I'm sure we're going to be blasted with all the word salad that Meghan's going to throw out to us. And we'll just have to rip it apart. But we have to keep speaking up and getting loud about this because it can't go on. You know what I mean? It just can't continue and pretend like nothing happened or we forget because there's so much damage that they have caused that there must be consequences. That's just the way life is, and we need to see to it. It can't get away with it. But let me know your thoughts. As always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.